Hi everybody, welcome back. When I first started growing food on my property, I thought in terms of the standards. You know, tomatoes, peppers, squash, lettuce. But when I look back on the last few years of successes, some of my best food production wins have come from growing mushrooms. And so on a day like today in the middle of the winter, I thought it might be nice to look back on my mushroom harvest. In this video, I'm going to talk about my methods, successes, and failures. There are a lot of ways to grow mushrooms, both indoors and outdoors. I primarily grow my mushrooms outdoors in logs and in ground beds similar to the way you would grow vegetables. I've made dedicated videos on both of those topics, how to grow mushrooms in logs and in ground beds. And I should also recommend that you check out North Spore. They have everything you could ever need to educate yourself on mycology. Now, I should give you one word of advice, and that is the details matter. The type of wood, the type of mushroom, the timing, all of these are factors that will affect your success. But once you get it dialed in, well, you'll actually be able to harvest mushrooms from that location for several years. First up, I'm going to talk about my experience in the past year or so with logs. I've gotten hundreds of mushrooms from the logs in this log rack over the past 3 years. But I have a funny story about the other logs, the ones that I keep on the ground. The first year that I inoculated logs, I did it in a spot higher up on my property, and nothing happened. I didn't get any mushrooms. And that was because the logs were too old. I learned from that lesson. I got the right age logs, it matters, and I moved them to a different spot. And I didn't get any mushrooms. But that time the reason was because the spot wasn't right. It was allowing the logs to dry out too much and the moisture needs weren't being met. I actually didn't know that at the time. I actually gave up and I used those logs to build ground beds. And it just so happens the spot that I selected to build the ground beds for the ground bed mushrooms was ideal for the logs. And those logs exploded, producing mass quantities of shiitake and snow oyster mushrooms. One other thing to think about with log mushroom inoculation is that they will eventually slow down and stop. But they can be rejuvenated simply by soaking the logs in water for 24 hours. And that's something I did this past year. I actually wish I hadn't soaked all of those logs at the same time, and that's because it produced too well. It was too many mushrooms all at once, and it was actually kind of hard to keep up with. And it's a good problem to have. Now, I mentioned it earlier, but the other method that I use to grow mushrooms is right on the ground. I built and inoculated the ground beds in late 2024, and I had great success with specifically the wine caps. They produced huge quantities. But I also got a sprinkling of various types of oyster mushrooms. I mentioned earlier that I have videos on the specifics of growing mushrooms in logs and growing them in ground beds. Be sure to check those out separately. And I'll just mention it again, North Spore has everything you will need, both the education and the supplies for growing mushrooms indoors and outdoors. And one last point, people often ask me, what do I do with these mushrooms? Well, my preference is to eat them fresh in that week's meals. But sometimes I have so many mushrooms that I slice them up, I dehydrate them, and I freeze them, and then I have them to use over the winter. Have been when I grow mushrooms. And I don't remember what I was gonna say next. Some of my best food production wins have been from when I was, you know what I'm trying to say. I primarily grow my mushrooms. There are a lot of ways to grow mushrooms, both indoors and out. Indoors and out, or indoors and outdoors. Additionally, if those aren't, I have dedicated videos on how to grow vegetables in how to grow vegetables in logs. That would be a thing. Hemp husks, other stuff. I said it before, I'm gonna say it again. North Spore, I'll say it, but I'll say it really slow because I'm trying to figure out what I'm gonna say. Like I said, I have specific videos. And to the 10 people that made it to the end of this video, thank you, I appreciate it. Please do all of that YouTube stuff, the liking, subscribing, the commenting, and just clicking links actually helps the channel. There are other ways to support the channel. You can see the links below. And as always, if you like this video, you might like these.